Tonight, I've returned to Santon Church with my good friend Eddie Mallett, as you've met on numerous occasions. In fact, on past videos, you've always commented how well Eddie works with me, and you're always pleased to see Eddie, as it were, back on the plot, and so we're here tonight.
I've got on the plot on this one bit.
Before I introduce our special guest, just to explain, since my last shoot, which was in Belfast at the prison there, I haven't been able to get out into the countryside to ruined churches or buildings to carry out any paranormal investigations due to the inclement weather. We've had a really bad winter, and particularly so over January and February. So I've been rather frustrated in being able to get out somewhere. And the biggest problem that's afflicting us at the moment is the weather. In the past we've had heavy snow, we've had high winds and rain. At the moment it's still high winds, it's very cloudy, so it's not really the right kind of weather for outside investigations. And so Eddie has very kindly invited me to return back here to Santon Church to meet the Reverend Richard Kendall, MA, late of this parish, who now resides in the chancel. And of course, as you've seen from previous investigations here, he can be very active, and especially if there is a female present. And so...
all on my own.
Could you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Anita. I'm delighted to be here this evening. Bit of a last minute thing, but obviously couldn't miss it, so quite excited as to what's going to happen tonight.
So you've been here a few times,
yeah,
haven't you, Anita?
I've been to Santon a few times.
One memorable moment here.
The biggest one was when there was a big bang on the door and the whole church shook.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So he was obviously very upset that night.
Yeah, very angry.
What other spiritual presences have you detected apart from the Reverend?
Once I felt as if the whole church was actually full. It just felt like everybody was coming in.
Sounds a congregation.
Just mainly watching us. Yeah.
A congregation of the dead.
Yeah.
It sounds really creepy.
Quite frightening, yeah.
What's that noise?
It was a sound there, wasn't it?
Yeah, I just heard a rattle. And of course I forgot to introduce the Reverend Richard Kendall, who is here. He just rattled something over in the chancel area. It's a kind of weird relationship, isn't it, Eddie? And of course I'll now introduce you over to Eddie. If you move in a bit, Eddie.
Hi there.
Thank you, Anita. You've been here a few times since I was last here.
Yeah.
Anything memorable in your experiences?
Oh, it's stunning. The last time I was here about 2 weeks ago, there was a girl in here. We were absolutely freezing cold. There was breath on the camera. We were that cold. There's this one girl. She said, I'm absolutely burning up. She said, I'm so hot. And I said, like, what? She took her coat off. The unknown at Santon Church of someone taking the clothes off in midwinter with all breath on the camera.
Wow.
Yeah. We then went outside, and she was absolutely freezing night, and she was still saying she was hot, and she held her hand on it like that, and I touched her arm and it was burning, literally burning.
Wow.
Amazing. But then when she came back in here, she absolutely just broke up in tears.
It can be a very emotional experience for some people in here.
Yeah.
You know, and I think particularly so for females as opposed to men. I think they tend to be more victim.
Well, the thing about it is, I mean, so usually the ones that actually cry are the men.
We've actually had people laughing in here as well, though, that they just can't randomly start getting...
What living people?
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
giggles.
They just can't stop. Yeah.
One
So
night,
it's different,
I think the first night we came here, it was very faint on the audio, but I could hear like a party going on in here.
Yeah.
I could hear a number of voices. And this is the other problem we have here. We often hear voices, but rarely do they actually pick up on the camcorder. So we're hoping tonight that we're going to pick up one or two interesting pieces. I brought the PSB 7 and on an outside chance the PSB 11. Most of the investigation will be conventionally done using camcorders, K2 meters, etc., etc. And then later we'll go into a ghost box session, and I think from last time we picked up a lot of voices which you were familiar with, which weren't coming from the box. The noise it was generating was allowing other voices to appear, as it were, in the ether of sound. And it was a really, really weird experience. It sounded like a young girl, didn't it? She said hello.
I can honestly say that I've had no belief in spirit boxes one bit, but that last time
it changed.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like literally they weren't coming through as a spirit box sound. It was coming through as though you would actually be on an actual proper...
On a camcorder.
Well,
in other words, a non-radio sound.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's the distinct difference. These voices weren't coming directly from the speaker. They were coming directly from the air surrounding the chancel. And just one other thing to mention, of course, here tonight, you may hear thunderous roar occasionally over the building. There is a major American Air Force base at Mildenhall. There appears to be some kind of operation on at the moment, and there's a lot of heavy aircraft flying in and out of the airfield. So we may get disturbed by that, and of course the London to Norwich train, which thunders past infrequently. But overall, I'm very excited to be back here. I'm very happy that you've joined us, Anita. I'm really, really grateful. And of course to my friend Eddie. And just to bring you ahead on one thing as well, in April, Eddie is going to appear as Mr. Ager in A Warning to the Curious. We're going to recreate, he can do it so well, we're going to recreate a scene from the production of 1972, which was directed by Lawrence Gordon Clark. And in the opening part of that particular programme, an archaeologist is digging away in the heath, and Mr. Ager appears out of nowhere and says, "Here! No digging! No digging here!" We're going to practice on that, but we're going to get there. And of course that will be shot in period clothing, and it's going to be a documentary about the life and most importantly, his beliefs of the paranormal in M.R. James. It's quite a big shoot. We're shooting for a total period of 8 days, and I assume at the end of that should be something very compellable and worth watching. It is, for me, a major production. It is a step out of what I normally do. As you know, I'm a historian. I also shoot historical documentaries. So this is going to be a historical documentary with a twist. But the benefit to you folks will be we're going to have a paranormal investigation in an old 15th, 16th century vicarage, timber frame vicarage. And we're going to have another paranormal investigation in a Martello tower. And for those of you not acquainted with Martellos, very, very quickly, during the war against France, England was worried that the French might sneak up on us, particularly across the North Sea, and come in on the beaches, all the way ranging from Suffolk all the way down to Kent. And so what they did, they built a number of defensive positions, which were these Martello towers, and of course they were never put to any use, and they have become a historical oddity. Today the Martello tower I'm referring to is at Oldborough. It now belongs to the Landmark Trust, and it is a particularly unusual Martello tower because it's 4 towers combined, and we're fairly hopeful we're going to pick something up from there. Anyway, enough is enough. We're going to continue with the investigation. As I said, the first part will be in the conventional manner, and then we're going to resort back to the ghost box. And I can say that when Eddie was talking and when Anita was talking, there were sounds coming from the chancel. So he's letting us know that he's here tonight. It is very, very cold, by the way. I'm wearing 2 coats, a scarf, and I'm still cold. But I'm really looking forward to this. And I take it you folks are too.
Yeah, you can see our breath is cold already.
Yeah, it is cold. Okay, thank you. Okay, we've now got the night cam in use. Eddie's got another camera running. Anita and Eddie are sat on the pulpit side of the church. I'm sat on the other, near the haunted pew. And so I'm hoping that we're going to get some kind of interaction. I'm going to hold the camera for a bit and then I'll share with Eddie. So I'm looking forward to this very, very much. we've come back here to make friendly and peaceful contact with you, and certainly you are a very congenial soul in the sense that you do participate in these investigations. I'm wondering if you could make a noise to let us know that you're here. You certainly did when we were setting up camera. I wonder if you could touch something in the chancel, rattle a window, anything like that.
Was that your tummy?
Yeah, that was my tongue. That would be edited out. I know when you ask the Reverend Kendall to do something, you know instinctively he won't do it.
But then they sneak up on you during the actual night. Didn't you? We love to hear you. Anybody else who's here? That's a voice. Say that again, please. Somebody outside. Just got to check to see if that's someone outside, because I don't hear noise there. That's loud.
That was like a whisper, right?
Yeah, quite a bit loud.
You all right, Eddie? Where's he gone to, Anita?
He heard.
Oh, you heard something.
Yeah. I thought I heard a whisper. Eddie said he heard a voice.
That's interesting.
He's gone to check it's not come from outside. But that was anybody else.
Let's have a look around the church. Come back out of focus.
Absolutely nobody there.
I didn't think there would be anybody.
Yeah, the likelihood of you actually seeing someone as a result of him is pretty remote, isn't it?
One of our friends, and I'll have to say thank you because that was loud. Thank you.
There's something wrong with this camera. It's reacting in a funny way. Can you put a light on there? It's staggering slightly. Hang on a minute. Yeah.
I don't mind, I'll do that.
It seems all right now. It's weird. Honestly, in this church, it is really weird what that guy does.
They love playing games with cameras.
Oh, tell me about it, Eddie. Tell me.
The amount of people who have had camera trouble in here is outnumbered. It's just
got a cold blast across my face.
cold blast. That's well known in here.
Yeah,
Are you feeling anything, Eddie?
Definitely the feeling, yeah.
I mean, you went outside because you thought you heard a noise, but...
That's a voice I heard, and very loud.
Yeah, I never heard that. It's weird how it works in here, isn't it? You can have a whole group of people, and one, maybe two people will hear something, and the others won't.
Yeah.
I heard it at the same time as Eddie, but I didn't hear it as loud as Eddie.
I literally thought that was somebody outside.
I definitely heard like a whisper or something.
I think we might have a good stuff there.
Well,
So
we
I
never
thought that
know.
was
Let's hope we're going to get something. As you folks know, this is where he's buried. As usual, there's always a funny smell in here.
Yeah. I mean, so usually you don't get a lot of we're in here, but you never know, sometimes you can.
See, last time we had a discussion about where he was believed to be buried, and I think the notion was he was buried in the corner of the chancel by the altar.
It's 3,000. Two people have actually come in here, Richard.
And his feet, but his feet, Eddie, if you recall, his feet came straight to the foot of the chancel and disappeared.
Yeah, it kind of made me wonder if there might have been.
His feet went like this, didn't they? He dived in.
Well, it came down. I didn't actually see what had actually happened. Maybe that actually hit the side there. But I just think that sort of made his way up there and to the actual chancel, and then just went from there. I mean, it's it just disappeared. But at the same time, he'd be still here. The only other way that I can think about is...
I can smell drink.
The only way I can think about it is if that's the medieval church, and then I've been under peace at the medieval church at that point.
I thought I just heard the door rattle slowly.
Heard the door rattle. Kill. Nice one.
Here comes another jet.
Yep. That's to Lake Heath.
They're coming over in batches.
And I'm also getting like the bell in my ear that I get when there's lots of spirits around.
Doesn't.
Yeah. Like tetanus, but I don't suffer from that.
Reverend Kendall, we know that you're here. I know you don't want to, but I'm asking you nicely whether you're prepared to make some level of communication with us. We have got the what we call the ghost box or spirit box here tonight, which we'll use shortly, because I know you're able to generate voices through it, so that will probably be your best way of communicating.
So in the
It makes me slightly giddy.
What's that, Anita?
Standing here makes me feel giddy.
Oh right. Do you want to sit down?
Yes, thank you.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, it is a strange feeling in here, I've got to say.
I've never been in that part before. Let me sit down.
Yeah. There are certain ways it can affect you.
I'm fine, I feel fine, but just standing in there I could just start to feel myself just slightly giddy.
He's naughty. Yeah.
What I'm going to do is put the camera, I'll be sat with you guys over there. I find I work better with it when I'm looking through a camera.
I just think you sit on the side here, it's not all you move that side.
Our voices will carry over anyway.
Yeah, K2 is very strange tonight because...
What's happening with K2?
Well, I said I thought it needed a new battery, but my husband tested it with the battery tester and said it was fine. As soon as I got here, the first green light that's normally on all the time isn't working.
Well, unfortunately, that's last time here, he affected my camera, not camcorder, and every time I was taking digital stills, they were in a real mess.
Yeah, that's just always constantly
Reverend Kendall, are you playing around with people's equipment again? Are you drawing energy from them? I can tell you where he is now. He's standing inside the chancel.
Oh, I've heard footsteps. One of those footsteps.
I haven't heard that. There's a lot of energy building up on the wall over the altar.
On the camera, just
it does feel colder. Yeah.
Just after I heard the footsteps, I thought we fell up to the camera.
Okay, a child's name. It's been with me since I came in here. Emily or Emmeline.
My husband never picked up in here.
And the child I'm seeing is wearing an all-in-one plain dress, which is skirted, you know, a white skirt, not luxuriously white skirt, but it's much wider. And it's very, very plain. She's got like a round circle around her neck. And her hair goes to her shoulders. It's a small child, probably about 7, 8. I don't know where she is, it just keeps coming, the recurring memory of it keeps coming into my mind. Is there a little girl here called Emily?
Is it a white dress?
I'm seeing the underneath is like a surface, so it's like a U-shaped top around the neck, exposing this white surface. And the colour I'm seeing her dress is like a light brown.
We've had a child in a white dress before.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay, we've sat here for a bit. We've been here for just over an hour. It may not seem necessarily a long time, but when you're sat in sub-zero freezing cold temperatures, as we are inside this church, it doesn't take too long of being sat and motionless before you need to get out and get some exercise. So I'm going to leave this camcorder to run on its own. We're going outside to take a short break, and then we're going to recommence when we come back with the Spirit Box, the PSB-7 and possibly the PSB-11. I haven't quite given up on it. I haven't had a lot of success with the 11, but it may come through here. And hopefully he'll make a level of contact. But I know you won't like us going outside the church, that I do know. But there you go. Okay, we've just had a short break outside. It's unbelievably cold tonight. In fact, the church is colder than the outside, so actually stepping outside it felt a lot warmer. We've stepped back in the church and of course it feels like it's 10 degrees colder than it is out there. What we're going to do now is a ghost box session. We didn't seem to have had much interaction from the Rev during the standard night invest camcorder session. We heard 1 or 2 unusual noises and perhaps the odd voice, but nothing to the degree that we experienced last time. I'm hoping that the box will draw him out and enable us to have some level of conversation with him. Of course, on the other side of the coin, he may not wish to cooperate, but I think that it's certainly a worthwhile exercise because you never know what you're going to pick up here. He's certainly about, he's certainly been around us tonight. And we've noticed quite a bit fluctuations in the temperature as well. But before I do, many of you like my little ghost stories from experiences in life when I was a police officer. And one short story I'm going to share with you is about a lady. Let's say that her name was Lizzie. She was quite elderly, she was in her 80s and she lived on her own. She was quite well off. She had her own self-appointed flat, apartment. It was sumptuously fitted. And one day, we received a call at the police station that she hadn't been seen for over a week. The call came in from her daughter. So we went back to the house and there were no newspapers outside, no bottles of milk, telltale signs that someone has died within. it all appeared to be quite ordinary. Anyway, her daughter unlocked the front door and we stepped inside, and this awful smell assailed my nostrils. It was absolutely appalling. The smell of death. We couldn't see where it was coming from. It was a 3-bedroom apartment. Went through all the bedrooms expecting to find a corpse lying in the bed, but no, it was until we walked into the bathroom and there was this blackened corpse which was completely covered in blowflies, and she was actually dead in the bath, and she'd certainly been dead for longer than a week, that I can say. Well, anyway, we put the whole thing down to the fact that she had simply died in her sleep in the bath, or had a heart attack or whatever. But the interesting point was, who was taking in the milk from the front doorstep? So I carried out some house-to-house inquiries. As I did, I was a young 19-year-old PC, obviously out to make a good impression with my bosses. And I called at a number of doors, and I found 2 people who were shocked. "She's dead, you say?" I said, yes, she'd been dead for quite some time. And the lady at one house was quite emphatic that she had had a conversation with her the day previously and actually saw this old lady picking up the milk and taking it inside the house. Now that sounds bizarre, but when we examined the fridge, it was full of milk bottles, 4 milk bottles untouched. So could this have been this old lady in spirit actually continuing in her everyday normal life routine? And again, I spoke to yet another neighbour who was certain that they had seen her at least twice during the week coming out of that particular apartment. Obviously, I went back and reported my findings to the police station, and the question there was she murdered and someone who looked like her had been looking after the apartment? But no, we had carried out a fingerprint analysis of the property. There were no traces of anybody else's fingerprints other than the old lady and her daughter. Now, we had the bottles of milk examined forensically, and there were fingerprints, the fingerprints of the milkman, and you've guessed it, the fingerprints of this deceased old lady. It's a mystery that's never been resolved, never been cleared up, yet to this day it remains an enigma. Quite what happened there and why she seemed to seemingly in spirit, as it were, continue with her normal life routine certainly has baffled us. And of course, police officers, mostly being sceptical about such matters, put it down to possibly somebody else that went in there. But they examined her body and forensic analysis showed that she had died of a heart attack whilst in the bath. She did not die of foul play, she died of natural causes. And so there is an unresolved mystery that even to this day cannot be satisfactorily resolved. And that is my short ghost story for you, based upon my own life experiences as a police officer. Anyway, we're going to continue with a ghost box session now. Hopefully we can pick up an interesting conversation with the Reverend Kendall, or perhaps one of his acolytes that hangs around the church. But either way, it's certainly going to be an interesting session, that I'm sure.
Is there anybody there that wants to say hello?
That's a hello.
Yeah, that was a hello, wasn't it?
My name's Anita. What's your name?
What was that?
Can you repeat that, please? It might have been George. Are you there, Reverend? Are you pleased to see us this evening?
Yeah, there's a voice then.
can't stay for long, so have you got anything else that you'd like to say? George, did you say your name was George?
Can you hear me, Richard?
There's a voice there.
Can you hear me, Richard? Say anything you possibly can. Very well. Are you here, Walter? How about Thelma? Are you here? Henry Allen? How about you? Say anything you possibly can, Henry, if you're here.
We are getting some interesting responses from the PSB7. Whether they are meaningful responses, I honestly don't know until I've reviewed the videotape. But there is certainly an atmosphere building in here. It's getting a lot colder. My thing is absolutely frozen. And the coldness is palpable. And yet when you go outside the church, it just appears to lift and become warmer. We had some good results last time inside the chancel, so I'm going to take the PSB7 and the speaker and the camera and put that onto the altar table and see whether or not he's prepared to generate more voices to communicate with us. So it could be interesting. Yeah. Anything you wish to say, Reverend Kendall? We've got to be standing very close to where you are. I don't want to be here all night, but I just want to ask you if you're prepared to say anything. Was that a yes?
I had something. Don't know if it was or not.
I've brought my little friend with me, Ghost Boy. Reverend Kendall, can I ask you a question? It's about religion. I mean, obviously you were Protestant. Did you enjoy the company of the Catholics at that time, or were the Catholics your enemies? I mean, how did it work between the Protestants and the Catholics?
Sounded like a yes.
It was a female, yes.
Female, yes. Yeah.
You'll have to speak much louder, Reverend.
I think it said guilty something.
Did you like the Catholics, or were they your enemy? Or was the Puritans your enemy more? We are standing inside your house. We're standing inside the building that you remember from the time that you were alive. What? What?
Echo.
Oh, I missed that. That's what I'm talking. Did you?
I think so, anyway.
Eddie said that you might have said the F word. Did you say that?
Not 100% certain, but I feel.
As a man of God, why do you swear so much? There's something there. I know you can do better than this, Reverend Kendall. Sorry, could you repeat that, please? Just standing in here, these tiles are so beautiful.
They're lovely, aren't they? Mother and flood layers.
You exist inside a very beautiful building, Reverend Kendall. Do you miss human company, living people, or do you prefer spiritual company? People like yourself in spirit. Because we're trying to create a bridge between our world and your world for you to communicate. And that's why we have this device here, because the sound enables you to project your voice, utilising radio frequencies. Yes, could you repeat that? Sorry, could you repeat that? What was that?
I don't know, it's a female voice. It's a little yellow light flashing on here, Chris. Is that the
Yeah, we're running out of tape, so I'll, when that finishes, give me a shout and I'll change it.
Gotcha.
But what I'm going to do is change the... Okay, Reverend Kendall, you can try again, please. If you did swear, would you want us to go or would you want us to stay? If you want us to go, we'll go now. If you want us to stay, you'll have to say that you want us to stay. So is that a yes or a no? Who was the woman with whom you had a child? What was her name? You had a child with a woman, or you may have had children with a number of women, but there's one in particular. You know who I'm talking about.
Reverend, who's the lady with you? The female that's present, can you give me your name, please? Can you give me your name, please? Yes. Is it Lisa?
Oh, Lisa, yeah.
Thank you, Lisa. Are you with the Reverend? Lisa, how old are you? How many of you are there at the moment? 4?
Possible,
Did you
yeah.
live there? Thank you so much. I'm sorry, I can't quite make that out. Can you talk a bit louder?
Rush, if it works. That's just turned off again. I've got a really expensive camera. I won't bring that here.
No. So from what I can gather, there's 4 spirits.
4 spirits?
Robert, Lisa.
Now look, Eddie, just on here, this camera just keeps going in and out. It turns itself off. Hang on, let's just get a picture.
So we've got Robert, Lisa. What were the other two names, please? Possibly Rebecca, did you say?
There you go again, just turn itself back off again. Every time I take a picture of the church, it turns off.
I'll tell you a story about this when they got the other phones off.
I think I took a picture. Look, the batteries are fully charged. Look, I turn it on, it turns off. Look. I just can't get any pictures on this camera.
You're playing about with our electrical equipment.
Having fun, ain't ya? Oh yeah.
You're using the energy so you can...
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
There's a voice then.
Yeah.
He's a tinker, isn't he?
Oh yes.
Have you seen me here before? No, I have been to see you before. You have to go soon.
Are you?
Are you? Yes, soon I will have to. I have to go to work tomorrow. Really clear, isn't it? I said I have to go soon, so are you?
I was pretty clear, I must admit.
You're getting some good responses now.
Yeah.
Ooh.
What, Eddie?
Not sure, but I think that was a piss off.
What?
I think that was a piss off.
Oh, right. I said I have to go soon.
Eddie's their official bad word translator.
So you'd like us to go now, or just me?
There's something to say.
Something there.
I'll let somebody else speak to you. Bye-bye.
I'll have a little bash and then Eddie, if you want to have a go.
What's that here?
Let me just get sorted. Any friends, souls who wish to converse with me, could you say something, please? Is there anybody there who wishes to talk to me? Please don't be afraid or annoyed. Someone sounded very agitated. Are there any people in this church who feel that they're trapped here?
Ooh, wow. Female, yes.
Is there anybody here who's trapped who feels that they shouldn't be here? Okay, I'm running out of battery on this camera now. Anita, if you just carry on for a minute, I just want to see if I brought a spare with me. The Halton bought the battery.
Is there a young child there that said did you say you were trapped? What's your name?
That was me, sorry. Something there, wasn't it?
So is there still only 4 of you, or is there more spirits now?
Yeah. Didn't quite catch that.
Can you speak a bit louder, please? Mean you no harm. It's nice to talk to you. Do you like April? Do you like the spring? You like it, yes?
Yes, I heard that.
Yeah, that was very clear, thank you. I like April as well.
Okay.
It's my birthday in April.
Just back on me, the battery on this camcorder is virtually drained. Fully charged battery when I left home, normally runs for about 4 or 5 hours, now completely reaching point of no return. So it looks as though we're going to end up with one camcorder, which is what Eddie's got at the moment, but on that one, the power, we just keep running it until it eventually runs out.
Good old Red.
Same problems every time. Battery drain. Was that laughter?
That sounds like
We've had
it.
a lot of snow. Looking forward to April.
Do you like the bats?
Sounds like you're having a conversation of your own.
That's good. Would you like us to go now?
No.
No, I thought you said it'd be nice.
Yeah, that's what came back through there. No.
Would you like us to go? Can you say categorically yes or no? That's Reverend Kendall for you.
You'll be lonely when we go.
I want.
You want what?
I want you just getting practice.
I know what I think I said, but.
What do you want?
Children.
Children?
It sounds to me as though it said, I want your body.
You want my body? It's a bit cold for that.
It is a little bit too cold for that, yeah. Well, other than just to keep warm, yeah.
Sounds like you're having quite a party of your own. Do you want us to go now?
I think that was a yes in the background, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a voice.
I think we're going to have to wind down now anyway,
We're
due
going
to
to
time
have to
and the
say
fact that
goodbye because
we're almost out of power.
we have to go to work tomorrow. Good night. Bye.
Oh, that was slow. That was a good night, but slow. That sounded very, very slow.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.
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 Bye.
Okay, we've reached the end of tonight's session. It's been very exciting. Unfortunately, the battery on this camcorder is virtually drained. It was fully charged before I left home tonight. The digital still camera has also played up significantly. A lot of problems with that, kept flashing through different settings. And of course, I've only been able to get 1 or 2 photos, so this is going to go very, very quickly. So can I thank everybody for tuning in tonight? Hope you've enjoyed this show. And very quickly, Anita, who did an absolutely sterling job on the ghost box. Thank you. What do you think of it tonight?
I think it's been brilliant. I think we've probably picked up more than we think we have. Lots of voices on there, definitely. So, good night from me, because I'm freezing.
And so am I. Eddie, very quickly before the power goes.
Yeah, it's been a bit chilly, but I've got to say, there's been some good stuff picked up.
It's been a brilliant night. Really good.
Yeah. I think there's going to be more on there.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
We actually think
yeah, there's a lot of work to go through. Listen, everybody, I know it's going to go over any second now. It's been a very interesting investigation. It hasn't been one of those that I can see on the surface where it's jumped out at you and grabbed you by the throat and said, listen to me. It hasn't been one of those type of investigations, but there has been some interesting responses, and particularly so with Anita. She got some great responses in the chancel, which I'll be able to share with you. Anyway, I have about a 2-hour drive to get back home to Essex. It's absolutely bitterly cold. I can't wait to get moving, so thank you, and I look forward to seeing you at my next investigation, and hopefully with Eddie. But just to remind you, in April, for the first part of the month, I will be shooting the M.R. James documentary with my dear friend Ursula Bielski from Chicago, and Jason Figgis, the film director and cameraman's coming over from Dublin to shoot it, so it will be a professional shoot. I'm really looking forward to getting this project done. It's certainly got me fired up, and it's been a lot of work since Christmas doing the research, but we're getting there, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Thank you, and good night to you.
Good night.
Good night.